Welcome to Master the Game. I am Juice, and today I am talking to Randall Hampton, author of The Little Game Master. But before we toss it over to him, I just want to plug a couple things we have going on here. We do this stream every Tuesday and Thursday, and it's at 1 p.m. till 2 p.m. Eastern. Every other Tuesday, we do a Patreon chat on Tuesday evenings around 8, 9 p.m. So that's going on tonight, actually. We have miniature painting Wednesdays and Thursdays. And we have games on Fridays and Saturdays. So this Friday, we actually have an interview with No Nat One, who does a lot of Pathfinder videos. And then next week, it's currently open, but there might be a chance for a one-shot or something like that. But we'll do something. So with that, if this is your first time here, hit subscribe, give us a like or a dislike. You know, either one's good. And sit back, enjoy. If you have a question, post it in the chat. So with that, Randall, take it away. Who are you?
Hi, I'm Randall Hampton. I'm the author and illustrator of the Little Game Master series of books. Best way to describe these books is basically Dr. Seuss meets Dungeons and Dragons. It's a very lighthearted series that kind of gives a very rough, a very brief look at the ideas of what tabletop role-playing games are all about. So I have three children of my own. And one day, this whole started because one day my oldest son stumbled across my bag of dice that I have for when I play D&D with my friends. And he just kind of looks at me and he's like, well, what are these? And I'm thinking to myself, how do I explain what tabletop games are, what D&D is to my son without just like handing him, the player's handbook and watching his eyes glaze over? There's a lot in that book. It's a big, thick tome. So I thought about it, and I talked with my wife a little bit, and was like, well, you know what? There's not a children's book about playing these games. Maybe I could do that. So that's where Little Game Master came from. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I write and illustrate children's books. I have my own Twitch channel where we basically it's very very super chill stream. We draw. We talk about a lot of nerd culture, video games, movies, whatever. I do a lot of. I sort of fancy myself a little bit of an illustrator for the tabletop community. I love taking people's characters and giving them like a visual representation. That's a big joy for me because I hear all these great stories. Like the descriptions that I get will end up being 6-7 paragraphs long. And like it'll be, but some of them will have some great details about how, I was like, oh, he's got a scar over his left eye from when he was attacked by a hippogriff, when he was 3 years old. And then later on in life, he found that same hippogriff and turned it into his pet or something, something like that. But it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And then that helps to just kind of bring the character to life. So it's a lot of fun,
Right.
A lot of fun. Yeah.
So with that, do you do commissions then for people's characters?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Usually on my Twitter page, I'll have commissions open or something like that. If you ever have a want for a commission, DM me, send me a message. If I can't do it right then, we'll talk about it and figure out a time when I can get to it and make it work. But
Nice.
For the most part, I always try and work with people as best I can.
That makes sense. Yeah, I like some of the stuff you were doing not too long ago. You might still be doing it, but you were doing the half faces for people. I was digging that. I was like, oh, look, who's he going to do this time? And those are cool.
Yeah, that was back in December. There was like the Toon Me Challenge is what it was called. I think on Twitter, and it was just taking people and like taking half their face and turning into a cartoon, that kind of thing. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you did some really cool stuff. I love your style. Obviously, we met last year at Grand Con, and I bought like your Cloud Strife little tiny 3x5 picture. I was like, oh, I gotta have that because I'm such a big Final Fantasy fan.
Sure.
So you've done at least 2 books, The Little Game Master 1 and 2, right? Have you done anything other than that?
Yeah, actually, back when I first graduated college, I did a fun little Christmas kind of storybook, just all about family and togetherness and stuff like that. That was
Nice.
fun. That was my first foray into writing and illustrating children's books. So that was an interesting experience. And if I could go back and do it all over again, I probably would. But recently, just last year, I was the illustrator for a book called Pragmatic Princess. 26 superb stories of self-sufficiency. It was written by Dr. Rachel Cohort, who is a clinical researcher for TakeThis.org.
Okay.
So she does a lot of great work, but she was the author of that book, and it's really just a book all about showing girls that you don't necessarily need to have like a knight in shining armor to help you and
Right.
solve your problems for you. You know, you can do these things by yourself. You don't. And when she approached me to do the book, I have a 5-year-old daughter, and she approached me about the idea for this book, and she's like, you know, I want girls to know that if you want something, if you can be a princess, you can go out and you can build your own castle. I think that was the plug that she gave me, and I was like, yes, yes, I will draw this book for you. Yes. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Basically, step out of the Disney tropes and flip it
yeah.
a little.
I mean, Disney, like modern Disney, does a great job of making their princesses very self-sufficient and being able to solve problems on their own, being much stronger than they were back in the 30s and 40s and 50s.
Right.
And so good on them for doing that. But yeah, that's exactly what this book was. It's a lot about making sure that that girls see that they have the tools, they have, you know, the strength in them to do what needs to be done. So it's right. I was a huge fan of the idea, and I'm so glad I was able to work on the project.
Nice. Yeah, that's me and my daughter when we've played our D&D games at home, because she's 9 now. She'll sometimes rescue the boys, right?
Yep.
So we kind of flip it a little, and she has fun with that.
Yep.
So Little Game Master. Obviously, that's what you're most known for in our community, I would say.
Probably, yeah.
The first one, because you have some monsters in there that resemble some stuff that's, you know, trademarked or copyrighted or whatever. How did you get around that? Like, how did this all happen in the first place?
In all honesty, when I did the cover for the book, I wasn't even thinking about trademark. I wasn't thinking about that. It was just me being a fan of the culture of the community, being a fan of the product that was put out there. And I drew the cover without even really thinking about it. When the book was completed, I sent the cover art. I was backed and I was promoted by Satine Phoenix. Satine Phoenix gave me a lot of push with the book. I sent her the cover art when it was completed, and she's like, "Okay, just so you know, this is a thing." And so I was like, "Oh, okay." So at that point, she put me in touch. She sent, we did like a little group email to someone at Wizards of the Coast and saying, "Hey," and I basically said to them, "I didn't even realize this. I'm just a fan. I'm a big proponent of these games. I'm just showing my love for them. I meant I didn't mean to step on any toes. I didn't mean to really push any buttons or anything like that. If you want me to change it, tell me. I will change it, and it won't even be an issue." And at that point, everything was copacetic. So I think they understood that I'm not going to be eating away at Wizards' giant bank account with my little book. So
right.
They were very and again, even at this point, if they decided, hey, you know, we need you to change it, I'd still be like, okay, we can do that. That's not a problem. Right. But at that point, I was to my impression, given the okay.
Right. Okay. So it sounds like they were pretty accepting of it. That doesn't mean if you guys out there are working on something.
Yeah, no, make sure it's cool. Yeah, no, don't do that. Make sure it's cool. You know, send letters to them and ask permission. Yeah. You know, it's kind of a funny copyright law where like you'll go into an artist alley at a convention, you know, if there are ever conventions again. And you'll hopefully you'll see a lot of artists that produce work of basically fan art, and that's one of the things is that if it's considered fan art, you know, that most companies don't press on them. For one, it doesn't cut into their margins. It absolutely doesn't. Two, unless you're selling it for massive amounts of money, it's not gonna raise any red flags. Three, it's promoting their work anyway. You know what I mean? It's only bringing people more into who they are and what they're building and selling. So
Right.
Most of my work that I do that may have trademark characters or anything like that, it's absolutely fan art. Like it's me expressing my appreciation for these IPs and what they are. So I have nothing but love for them. And if anyone ever wanted me to stop doing it, they just need to ask. And then I'll, we'll create something else.
Right. So speaking of that, you funded the first Kickstarter.
Yeah.
How much did you raise on your first Kickstarter?
Oh gosh, I think the first Kickstarter raised like 18,000, something like that.
Oh, that's good, especially for your first one. That's not bad.
It was my first one. Yeah, it wasn't. I was not unhappy about that. It was enough to do a nice large run of the book, and to help do some promotion stuff and help build the business a little more. So it went well. It was really well received. And what's funny is, I mean, the book right now is in 48 out of 50 states, and it's in, I think, something like 42 countries around the world.
Wow.
You know, so it's out there. People like it, but like I'll go to a new convention each year in like somewhere away from where I am. Like I do a lot of conventions right here close to me, just because it's convenient and it's, you know, doesn't impede too much on the business funds. You know, being able to pay for a hotel and stuff like that. Occasionally I spread out. Like last year I went to PAX U, went to PAX Unplugged in Philly. It was a great time, met so many amazing people. And what's really funny is everybody that I talked to there, unless I'd talked to them before going, nobody had heard of my book. Nobody had heard about it. So when I'm walking around and I have my book with me, I show it to them, and people are like, this is great. Why haven't I heard about this? I'm like, I don't know. Why haven't you heard about it? So it's a great opportunity. I mean, we're a very niche market. You know, it's a like the Little Game Master books had a very specific clientele in mind when I made them. You know, like I'm very much a nerd that loved these games. I'm at the point in my life, I have kids now. You know, I want to be able to introduce my kids to what my passions are. And I just felt that this was a good way to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. It's like, I remember seeing it on Kickstarter. And then obviously when I saw it at the convention, I was like, oh my gosh, I saw this on Kickstarter. Like I was super excited. Yeah, no, it's really cool. I've talked to other gamer parents. I have a family that's on my Discord, husband and wife, and they are huge fans. They backed both your Kickstarters. And
glad to hear it.
we've talked about the book multiple times in 8 months, like just like how good it is. And, you know, and in fact, they actually were curious about the second Kickstarter. You made an RPG for kids with it, and they were curious if the module is still going to see the light of day, because I don't think it reached that that level. Right?
It didn't. Like the second Kickstarter. I mean, the Kickstarter happened. It started, and then I think a week or two later, everything was shut down because of the pandemic. Yeah. Like I launched the Kickstarter at the beginning of March, I believe, end of February, beginning of March, and it was going well. And then everything just stopped. Everything shut down, and I was like, "Oh man,
yeah,
this isn't going to do as well as the fird one did."
Terrible timing.
Okay, yeah, it wasn't great timing. But I had lofty goals for that one. I had talked with my kids about playing a game, and we tried 5e, and my oldest son, he caught on really well. And he was fine. He's 7 years old, and he grasps the concepts, and he understands what's going on, and he really appreciates the rules and appreciates that there's so much structure to it. He was like, okay, well, I know exactly what this spell can do, so he appreciates that. My daughter is a little more loosey-goosey. You know, she likes playing by the seat of her pants and being able to do lots of things.
Right.
So I wanted to create a game where there were set rules for the kids, but at the same time, they could kind of bend them and play with them as they see fit, you know? So for the game, you know, there were specific character cards that I had created that were based on the characters from the book. And so then, you know, those characters had, you know, specific actions that they could take based on what class they were. So like there was one, like the knight, for example, was one of the character cards, and you know he could attack with his sword. He could, you know, defend his one of the other party members on his turn, and that basically gives them a boost to their defense if they're attacked, that kind of thing. But it gave them opportunities to kind of take those actions and do what they want with it, be a little more open to interpretation. So I thought that was a great way to really encourage using their imagination and to really kind of push the boundaries of what these games are.
Right.
But still being simple enough for the kids to understand.
Right. Yeah, I understand how that goes, because I've tried playing D&D or a version of it with my daughter at least once a year since she was like 4 years old. Obviously 4 years old, it's just like, just roll some dice.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll take the 10 minutes I can get of focus. And it probably was when she was like 6 or 7, she was able to focus enough that she could move some minis around and roll dice when she was told to, but not like just start taking the minis and just doing whatever. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so, like, to me, like, when people ask, well, what age would you introduce your kids? I'd be like 6 years old, but I wouldn't give them I wouldn't give them a 5e character sheet, Give them like 2-3 simple actions, maybe 2 or 3 numbers for stats, and you're good to go, kind of thing.
And that was really the idea behind the game. It was very much simplifying down the statistics that they have for their ability scores. Giving them a few actions so that they can go around, and it was the whole thing was D6 based. So it was just D6 competing roll values, that kind of thing. And so it teaches them a couple of things. It teaches them basic arithmetic. So adding bonuses to whatever the die roll is. It teaches them cooperation with the other people at the table. And it teaches them to stretch their boundaries of what the rules might be and what they can do with them. So those are all kind of fun things that I think they're great about the game in general, but great tools that these kids can have moving forward.
Yes. It teaches them to like math too. Makes them quicker, and then they're like, oh, I like math. That's what I do when I'm playing with mom and dad or whatever. Yeah, no, that's great.
But yeah, so the Kickstarter didn't quite get to the point where the game module was produced as a living book. However, because of what happened with the pandemic, I did decide that all backers, even those that just backed for the PDF version of the children's book, when the Kickstarter ended, I was going to send out a PDF of the module as well. So everyone that backed the book, as soon as the Kickstarter was over, got the PDF version of the book and got the PDF module right away. Like, I sent it out as soon as possible, just to make sure. I mean, we all needed something to do for the next 3 months, you know. So it was a fun little thing that I thought, it was like, what, you supported this project. I appreciate that. Let me try and do something to get this to you as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
So,
do you think you'll ever do a print run of it?
I don't know. It would need a lot of play testing. It would need a lot of play testing. It's definitely got its cracks. It would need a little spit polish. It was roughly put together. It's just me, and I'd never done anything like that before. I'd never done any kind of game mechanics or anything like that. So it was really kind of cobbled together with ideas that I've maybe stolen from one area or another, and mishmashed together and put together. The end product, I think, could be very, very good for kids, but it definitely needs some help.
You're probably just being overly critical of yourself.
Oh, I'm always overly critical. That's fine. That's
how you get to be as good as you are.
That goes without saying. That's the artist's lament.
Yeah. It seems like the better you get at something too, the more you notice how much work you need. You know what I mean? It's like, the better I seem to get at something, like whether it's a job or something, I realize, oh, I'm really not that great because I still need to learn that and how to be a master at it.
Yeah, there's always room for growth. No matter what you do, no matter even the people you can go on Twitch and watch art streams of people all the time that are just filled with talent, unbelievably talented people. And I mean, I've got a grasp of what I know works for me and how I like to draw and things like that. And I enjoy it and I have a lot of fun with it. But I watch some of these other people, I was like, oh, I need to learn how to do that. And what's nice is that I have that feeling for them. Like I could go on and I could watch a digital painter go on and just do very, very highly rendered things. I'm like, gosh, I wish I knew how to do that. I wish I could, focus more on that and do that. I've done some high render stuff before, and I got into my groove with what I'm doing now, and I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
Right.
The fun thing is that I've gotten comments from people like that saying, "Oh my gosh, your work is so fun and whimsical. I wish I knew how to do that." And then, so it's a give and take,
Yeah.
And that's what's great about this community is you can always learn something. You can always grow a little bit more by interacting with the people in here with us.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that. Like, it's the same way with like YouTubers and stuff. Like a lot of the stuff we talk about, it's like, oh, I need to get better at this, and then someone's like, yeah, but I need to get better at that, and it's awesome. I love the community.
I can show you how to get a better frame rate if you can show me how to do, where can I get a good link up for royalty-free music, something like that.
Yeah, that's kind of it too. Like, we share a lot of resources and stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's awesome. So Bill Allen asked about 45 minutes before we went on stream, how does one find the printer company that works best with a Kickstarter project?
In all honesty, the two aren't necessarily related.
Sure.
The best printer for you is going to depend completely on what your end product is or what you want it to be. Like for me, I knew I wanted hardcover, full color, and I wanted to do a large print run.
Right.
So for that alone, I knew that print on demand wasn't going to work for me. Like I couldn't go on to like Amazon's print resources and do that because first and foremost, they almost, I can't say anymore. Back when I did the first book, I checked into it. They didn't do full color print runs. They didn't do hardcover. So I knew that didn't work for me. I asked around to a lot of friends in publishing that I have that publish their own works. I have a few friends that do comic books and things like that. I said, who have you used for printing for your stuff, for what you're doing? And so I got a couple of names, and I went and I talked to some people, and it's really doing the legwork of. And let me preface: this is if you want to self-publish.
Right.
It's all about doing the legwork and talking to the printers and making sure they're very clear on what you want and whether or not their quote, their price meets your budget. That's the big part.
Right.
If you're fortunate enough to snag an agent or have a publisher that finds you, then you don't even need to worry about that. You send them, hey, this is my idea, this is the manuscript, this is what the art looks like. I envision it as this, and then they'll come back and talk to you back and forth about what it should be, that kind of thing. So, but yeah,
nice. That's a good answer. I think that's pretty helpful. It sounds like you shop around, get a couple quotes.
Yeah. I mean, there are tons and tons and tons of companies out there that are willing and want your business to print your book. It's all about making sure that they can provide what you want the end product to be.
Right. And I bet most don't tell you, no, we can't do that. They want to get that signature. They'll do if it's outside of their scope, they will let you know. I mean, if it's outside of your budget, they'll definitely let you know. They'll give you a number and you'll see it and you'll be like, okay, I can't afford that. Maybe I have to rethink what this project looks like. Right.
Or put it on hold until I can, accrue the funds needed to make it happen.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Another question from Bill. What works well with Kickstarter? What is a challenge and what could be improved?
Okay.
It sounds like maybe with the platform itself.
I love Kickstarter. I've been a big fan of the whole process.
Okay.
Kickstarter is great because you're able to build a brand and get basically pre-built sales before you even have a product.
Right.
Which is amazing. You have the platform to market your idea. You have the opportunity to spread that far and wide over social media. And you bring in people and you basically get sales before you even have a product. Those sales create enough margin that you can actually create the product and then more than that so that you have a stockpile of it to sell after the fact.
Right.
That's what's great about Kickstarter is it's all about this is just the business line end of it, and it's completely boring and it's but some people might find it useful. It's great because it's a wonderful marketing tool to get sales before you have anything to actually hand people.
Right.
It helps you build your customer base. So it was so simple for me to go into the page from the first Kickstarter, send out an update with a link to the new Kickstarter saying, hey, everyone that bought the book the first time, the second book's out. If you're interested, why don't you hop over there and check it out? Mm-hmm. Like the first book funded in 4 days, which is pretty good for a first-time Kickstarter. Second book funded in 4 hours.
Big difference.
Big difference. Big difference. And the funding for this project, that's like bare bones. This is bare bones what I want to do to get the book out to you guys. The stretch goals and stuff are what I really would like to see happen to make it the best product possible. Right. So like things like doing a hardcover, things like doing UV spot printing on the front of the coverage to make it flashy,
better quality, yeah.
And then there was a lot of other stuff. Like with this one, all the stretch goals were built into making the module better and better and better. More monsters, more sessions, more acts, if you will, in the game for people to play. More character cards, stand-up little cardboard stand-up minis that people could play on the game. Battle maps, things like that were all going to be. And I had this great idea that it was all going to be a self-contained paperback book that would have an envelope in the back that everything would fit into. And you could just hand it off to people and like, here you go. And we just didn't get there. But that's okay.
Right. That's okay. Tough too. Because like, obviously it's because of when it dropped, you can assume it's because of COVID that it didn't get the funding you were hoping for. But there's no way to tell if it's that or if people just didn't want all that.
Well,
right?
I had gotten
a lot probably did.
Yeah.
I know I did.
I mean, and again, it was an unproven product too. It was absolutely me putting it out there without anybody even seeing what it was.
Right.
So I took a big risk on that. I sent out a few playtests. I sent a copy of it out to you in like the most bare bones version ever. It was like literally like I
still have the sheets in my living room.
I sent him I sent Juce a Word doc and like a couple of PDFs.
Very small just sketches of like 2 monsters.
Yeah, it was awful. And I was like, dude, okay, you're in the industry. You played enough of these games. Yeah. What do you think about playing this with your kids?
Actually, it works great. So, like, it was perfect for, again, if my daughter was 6, it's perfect.
Yeah.
My sister, and she likes it. She was all excited about it. She loves the character art. It was cool. My wife thought it was cool.
It's a fun idea. But
I did offer some feedback. I don't know what was done with that. But
yes, he did. He did. And if going forward, if this is something that I do, I'll definitely work with you again, and we can push forward, and you can have a little. You'll have a credit on the inside for sure.
Oh, nice. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It was that wasn't so much. I think the reason that the second Kickstarter didn't do as well. I think.
Yeah.
There were so many people that were furloughed, so many people that just didn't have concrete employment at that point.
Mm-hmm. And that was my situation. And when that was going on, I was like, oh crap, I'm in car sales. Like, even if we open up, are people going to be able to afford cars? Yeah. So it was just a big role in me not going back to work.
So I sent out a message to all the backers and I said, look, I understand right now things are completely in the air and we don't know where anything is going from here.
Yep.
Take care of yourself and your family first. If you need to back out on your pledge, I completely understand that.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself, take care of your family, make sure that this is an extravagance. This is not something that you guys have to live during this craziness of a pandemic.
Right.
Please take care of yourself. That's what I said to everyone. And this is, if you're still a backer and you're still here when everything's said and done, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I will do whatever I can to make sure that it's as good an experience as I can. And that's what I'm still trying to do to this day. I'm still sending out updates saying, hey, look, I've heard from the printer. We got things fixed now. And so yeah, we're still working at it. I'm still trying to get the book out as quickly as possible.
Right. You have good turnaround time. I mean, most Kickstarters, it takes a while. So yours usually ship within a year.
Yeah,
both of them have so far.
Yeah, a lot of them, a lot of Kickstarters that I've seen are, fulfillment. If it was a June 2019, I've seen some where the fulfillment was like May 2021.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that's a long time to wait. I don't even know if I remember backing that Kickstarter at that point.
Right.
I tried really hard to have the books by summer. That was my goal. Shipping worldwide is insane right now. It's an issue, and that has slowed down production a lot. Production, the company that I use, the manufacturer, the actual printer is in China, and they were shut down for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks before the Kickstarter even started. So the backlog of what was going to them was through the roof. So that was a lot of it. I tried real hard. Like the first book, the Kickstarter went up in February. I had the books to people in June. Mm-hmm. That I felt like that was really good turnaround.
Yeah.
This one, the Kickstarter went up in March, and I said I was trying to have the books to I was really optimistic, and I said I was trying to have the books to them by July.
Right.
Obviously that's not going to happen. At this point right now, I'm guessing I should be seeing the hard copies in my hand probably by August, maybe September.
Right.
I mean, it's just everything's been pushed back because of COVID. So
right.
I mean, it's not an excuse. It's letting people know this is the expectation you might have to have.
Right. And I think people are understanding of the times at the moment.
Yeah. Sure.
Given everything going on, for sure. So Roll Stats asks, how do you address adversarial relationships in the game? PC versus monster, or is the focus more on a collaborative effort? PCs working with monsters.
The game was really... Well, let me answer this in two ways. First and foremost, the book, I tried to be as anti-confrontational as I can be. The first book, there's really no fighting at all. The heroes come across spoilers. The heroes come across. I think it's more traps, more obstacles than actual combat. Mm-hmm. They have to cut their way through some plants at one point, and then when they get to the BB,
they murdered plants.
They murdered plants. They murdered them, destroyed them. They weren't sentient. The big bad at the end of the book, it turns out it's not what they thought, so it's all about, literally the first book in the series is all about not judging a book by its cover.
Makes sense. It's a good moral for kids.
It's good kind of a moral. Second book, it's again the same thing. There's a lot of skill challenges and things like that, and more introducing new aspects of the game other than just combat.
Yeah.
Using, like, for example, in the second book, I introduced the idea of a bard, having a bard in the party. So using more inspiration type mechanics and things like that to get the players through problematic situations, things like that. And then again, the first book was all about, knowing your surrounding, knowing the situation before you act, finding out what's happening before you make reckless decisions. That's really what the first book was about. Second book was all about finding the cause of a problem, empathizing with the problem, and then kind of an idea of forgiveness. Nice. Realizing that things won't change, things won't get better until there's a common resolution. Mm-hmm. People can forgive and start to heal. Like that's really where the second book goes. Second book is all about realizing that this community, the community in the book, and our community as a whole cannot progress and cannot be better until we acknowledge the problems that we have, we take responsibility for those problems, and then we learn to forgive and heal from those problems.
That's important.
It's very important, and that's a huge lesson that kids need to learn.
Yes.
Empathizing with people that may, like the second book is called The Bards and Bullies. And the idea of bullying it's always been, it's always has been, and it probably unfortunately always will be. So the idea that we can teach these kids, empathize with the people that are maybe different from you and maybe acting out. Why are they acting that way? You don't know what their background's like. You don't know where they came from. Try and empathize them before you judge them immediately, and then come to an understanding. Realize, take responsibility for the actions, because they may be acting one way because of the way you treated them at some point. You don't know.
Or their home life or something.
Their home life might be something, who knows? So that's kind of the idea. It's like, we all have to live here together. We're all on this planet together, and we need to understand that to do that and to do that successfully, we have to have empathy. We need to treat each other with kindness. We need to have love and respect for one another before anything can change and grow. That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Okay, good.
I like it.
As far as the game goes, the game module, it's all possibility.
Right.
Like it's like just like in any game of Dungeons and Dragons you might play, or Pathfinder, there are options for players. They can go down any different winding road. And what's great about these games with the kids is normally the person that's the game master is probably an adult or at least an older sibling.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll be able to react to what the kids are doing in a way that can hopefully guide them in productive outcomes.
Right.
As a dungeon master myself, I always want my players to feel heroic and to feel like they're doing great, grand things. I want them to feel like they're accomplishing something and that they're making a difference. They're changing the fate of the world, kind of a thing. With kids, it doesn't need to be that grand.
Right.
But you want them to have fun, and you want to have them feel like they're creating something and making something that's big to them. So, the module that was sent out was all about, oh gosh, what was it? Was it like, I think the water was going bad in this town or something like that is what I sent out. And they had to figure out why it was happening. It turns out, there were like a group of goblins that were poisoning the water, or they're dumping stuff into the water in their little house, and it was trickling downstream, and it was making people downstream sick. How they resolve that is completely up to them. They have the tools to go in and do combat. They have the tools to go in and talk to them.
Right.
So it's all about where the game master leads them, and all about the choices that they make and the limits of their own imagination.
Right.
Roll stats, if that makes any sense at all, or if that answers your question, I hope it does.
I think it does.
I wanted to have the same effect of an adult TTRPG for the kids, but still,
kids can do it in their own creative way.
Yeah, give it their own legs.
Yeah. There in the document you sent me. So, for example, one of the things is it even states in there, don't have like them kill the monsters. Maybe the monsters run away.
That was exactly it.
So it's not like you slaughter them. It's not like that.
There were kind of safeguards set into the module where if the party was TPK'd, for example, they didn't die. People were just knocked out, and then they were found by passing villagers or something. They were dragged back to town, nursed back to health.
Yep.
You get up, you start again. If the monsters or the critters or bad guys or whatever are dropped down to 0, they just run away and they're gone. They leave the area. They're no longer a problem. So there was no killing. There was no death. There was no absolutes.
No blood
in that. No blood and nothing like that. It's just making sure that those are just things that kids don't necessarily need to be exposed to.
Right.
At such an early age in this thing. We're trying to show them another avenue for fun. It doesn't necessarily have to be as realistic as possible.
Right.
Like give them a little bit of a fanciful adventure and make it as whimsical as you can, without, bringing too much reality into it.
Yeah, I think there was even a mention of if the kids try to talk it out, work with them to talk it out. Like, So yeah, it doesn't have to be combat or anything like that. So it's
not at all.
It's definitely up to the kids' imagination and creativity to solve problems.
Yes.
It was well done, I think, and it's simple enough to handle at a table for an adult and kids.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
So the second one, obviously, it hasn't shipped yet.
Nope.
Now, are you already starting to look towards a third? Or when does that process start?
My initial idea, and like this was me sitting at home with my wife. We just had our third child. We just brought him home, and I was sitting in my recliner, and I got the little guy like sleeping on my chest. And I looked over at my wife, and I was like, "Wouldn't it be cool?" Like we talked about the idea of the first book before that. I was like, "Wouldn't it be cool if it was a series, and you set it up on your shelf, and like the spines were all lined up, book 1 to like book 12." And on the spine was like a giant picture that followed throughout the whole thing. And she's like, "Yeah, that'd be amazing. Do you have enough content for that?" and absolutely, we can make enough content. And so the third book will come. It will probably be next year. It's probably when the third book will come. There are a few other projects that I want to work on this year and really build, and then I want to come back to it. I want to give this book a little bit of time to breathe, and then come out with book 3. But yeah, my initial thought was I wanted it to be a long series that people could kind of enjoy and grow.
Right. Judging by your hand width, that's like 18 books, I would say.
Well, okay, so book 1, book 2, book 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So like that, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
Nice.
As long as people show interest, and as long as people are appreciative of what they are and what they're saying, I'll try my darndest to keep making more. I have a ton of fun doing it. So
nice. So is this your full-time job?
Well, sort of. I own and run my own art house.
Okay.
So I do graphic design. I do a lot of illustration work. I do my own personal work that I turn around and produce and sell. And then I stream on Twitch. I do my own live streams where I'm just working on some of my projects. Mm-hmm. I work with Geeks Like Us, which is another company that I work with. They are basically they're a group of people that are just they're unapologetically enthusiastic about geekdom, like video games, Dungeons and Dragons, TTRPGs, anime, movies, whatever. If you're unapologetically enthusiastic about something in a geek universe, you'd be welcome there. Nice. So every other Friday, I do a stream with them where I call Drawing Conclusions, where I basically I sit and I draw a character or a concept from some popular IP. And I have someone on to talk to me about it. So in the past few weeks, I've talked with someone about Skyrim. I've talked to someone about Harry Potter. I've talked to someone about Cowboy Bebop. I've talked to someone about Zelda. I've talked to someone about Final Fantasy VI. It's we find these IPs in geek culture that speak to us and have such profound thought. And these people that come on, they're influencers in our community. They're people that have they're either people that have some sort of academic background that lets them speak to the deeper issues in these things, like the psychology behind Final Fantasy, the psychological impacts, or talking about the hero's journey in Cowboy Bebop. By the way, another aspect of this show is if you can come on and make me a fan of something. So if we're going to talk about something that I've never seen or never experienced, I want you to be able to come on and make me a fan of it.
Right.
So for example, I had Dr. Anthony Bean on and we talked about Cowboy Bebop. I'd never seen Cowboy Bebop before. I watched a few episodes, streamed a few episodes, watched through it, and talked to him about it. I'm a fan of Cowboy Bebop now. The music is amazing. The entire story, the idea of the hero's journey through Cowboy Bebop is great. And then just the animation is so fun, and it's gritty and just it's not for kids, It's definitely an adult show, but it's just so fun and great. So that's what that show's about. That's what Drawing Conclusions is all about. So that's one other of my jobs. And I also stream with Wormwood Gaming. I do some artwork for them, and every third Sunday night, I do a live stream where we just basically work on some art projects. Right now, I'm currently working on a giant poster of the employees of Wormwood as members of a giant TTRPG party.
Wasn't that having to change for some reason, though? You said something on Twitter, or somebody did. You started it one way and then you had to change it?
We started it, yeah. We went on, we did a live stream, and it was a lot of fun, and we had everybody kind of throwing out ideas. Okay, well, what would Doug be? You know, if you watch Worm Life on YouTube, you know,
their
Worm
last
Life
one is hilarious.
It's hilarious. It's so funny. like Bobby and JV and them, they do a great job putting together Worm Life. It's hilarious. Yeah. It's great because it gives you an idea of what's going on in the company, and it shows you these are real people. Like they 100%. Have, you know, these are real people, and they're unapologetic about who they are and what they believe and what they're doing. It's great. So everyone knows who these people are, and so they're throwing out, oh yeah, you know, Doug would be this, oh JV would be that, oh, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm sitting there and I'm drawing some of the characters, and it's fun, and we're having a good time. The stream ended, and the next day I'm looking at it, and I'm just kind of looking at the composition. I'm like, you know what, it's just done. That's not working for me. So I decided to do something a little more dynamic with it. And so this Sunday I'll be on Wormwood Gaming's Twitch channel again, and the community will see for the first time what I changed. A lot of it is still the same, but I changed it to make it a little more dynamic and make it more of a poster that I want the community to be able to enjoy and use. And that's kind of the idea, is I'm going to work on this with the community during the stream. And when it's all said and done, I want to be able to, I don't know if Wormwood's going to want to sell it, or if we're going to just let everyone download it, or what. I have no idea. But
that'd be cool. It's like a desktop.
I have no idea what they're going to want to do with it. Yeah, yeah, whatever. But that's another thing that I'm doing now, and it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. Yeah, lots of cool opportunities.
Right. So Bill Allen said, any intention of writing more books for a slightly older age range, maybe tweens and teens?
I have an idea itching in the back of my brain that I want to do really, really bad. I don't know when or if it'll ever happen.
Uh-oh.
It may be directed more towards an older audience, like 16, 17, 18 and adult. Yeah. But I don't know. I've considered making like a graphic novel that is from the perspective of a DM.
Ooh.
So it would be all about their experience as a DM dealing with players, writing a story, creating a story, making its story come to life in the graphic novel.
Yeah.
And then the reason why I think it's going to be directed more towards adult people, more adult age people, is because of the expressions and the feelings of angst and just hair pulling that DMs get.
Right. So is it going to deal with like problem players too, kind of?
It might. I mean, I don't know.
That's the rules lawyer, which is me. Like,
oh, you're one of those.
I am. I'm getting better, I think.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't played in a game in a little while. So.
I'm the guy. I'm the DM that I like to play it a little loose, and like rule of cool is where I am. That's where I.
As a DM, that's totally how I am, and I don't care about the rules. But
rule
as a player,
cool is how, yeah.
As a player, I'll sometimes be put off when they're like, "Well, give me this, roll for this," and I'm like, "Well, that's not how it works." Or like, for example, we're playing Tomb of Annihilation, and back in like January, our paladin tried to do a ritual spell. And technically, they can't do ritual spells, even if a spell can be done as a ritual, because they don't have the ritual assigned to it. And then I remember I texted my wife, who was the DM, and I was like, I don't care that you're doing this. Just so you know, paladins aren't supposed to be able to do ritual spells. Because I can't, it's something that'll sit in the back of my head, and I'll think about it for days. You know?
I'm one of the guys that even when I'm playing, I'm like, if this is cool, like if this does something cool for the story, or for the progression of the quest or the campaign or whatever, I usually don't care.
Right.
You know, like I'll throw rules down. I'll be like, all right, that's not really how that works. But if they come up with something that's so like left field cool for the game, I'm all about it.
Yeah,
I'm all about
I
it.
agree.
I think that's fun.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do that definitely as a DM. I'm like, no, like, yeah, let's do it. You want to jump off the balcony and do this and that? Yeah, let's do it.
yeah, we can. Yeah.
By the rules, you die because you fell, 40 feet at first level. But let's just allow.
Let's just try it. Let's see what happens. Yeah. Oh, you think you're Legolas? Oh, okay.
Right. I call them Hollywood moments. I encourage them. I even award
inspiration
games for it.
That's a very good descriptor right there. Hollywood moment. That's good.
I preface it at the start of a campaign, like, hey, if you guys do what I call a Hollywood moment, if it's something you'd see in a movie, I will allow it.
Yeah, there are a couple of different little things that I've introduced throughout my games, like the superiority die idea.
Yeah. Yep.
That comes in, like if you do something really cool, it like flips over to the next number on the die, and everyone gets that bonus to their skill checks or something like that for the next however long. If they completely fudge it, it goes back. It goes down and down and down, and if you get really bad, it starts aiding the NPCs or the bad guys.
Oh, nice.
Things like that. Like I've done stuff like that for my players, just to change it up and make it a little interesting. If we do if there's not necessarily combat, but there's like a giant like skill challenge thing happening.
Yes.
Like some kind of like Indiana Jones get away from the boulder kind of trap kind of thing, where they just need to keep moving. All right, skill challenge. How do you get past this? How do you get past that? They're over here. How do you get to them? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's when the superiority die comes out and can really either help them or hinder them in a major way.
I like that.
It makes the game a lot of fun.
I love it. I love mixing it up a little bit and doing epic stuff.
And I don't even remember where I saw that, but I saw that somewhere else, or a version of that somewhere else.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that'd be a cool idea, so I just throw it into my game.
There's a couple of videos right now that are out. So I don't know if you've heard of the DM Coach. He's a newer YouTube channel. He's growing really quick. He did a thing about his house rules. That was really good. And then the DM Lair did a video recently too about his house rules, and they have like really cool things in there that I've been now like, ooh, I kind of want to try.
Should I implement that? Yeah.
Yeah. One of them was like skill checks, but you don't want it to be a single roll. For example, it was like, oh, say they're trying to, I don't know, say like they're breaking into a bank vault and they have to cut through the thing. It's going to take probably 4 or 5 turns. So you give a huge DC, like 40. And then when they
have to roll multiple times to add up to
and that. It keep like say you make the so my take was, let's make the DC 20 if any number over 20 comes off of the 40 until it's at 0. So I was like, do something like that, because they were talking about doing that as well, and one of them was, I think it was the DM.
That's interesting,
and that's where I like started modifying it a little.
Idea.
I love it. So,
that's a cool idea.
Yeah,
I like that.
So we are getting close. You said there was something in particular you wanted to talk about.
I do. So I don't know if anybody knows this, but Juce and I are both in Michigan.
Yes, we're about 20 minutes apart at most.
We actually don't live that far away from each other. Yeah, it's actually like we met at a convention, and we're like, what you're here? Oh, okay, cool. Another thing, so Juce is obviously a Michigan fan.
I wore this for you. I actually had a different hat, and I was like, I gotta switch since I know he's a Michigan State guy.
I am. I'm a Spartan grad. I went to Michigan State. I graduated. I was a season ticket holder for football for years until this year, because there's probably not going to be football.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about this before we started. I was like, oh, it'd be great. Little friendly wager.
Okay.
Friendly wager. If there is football or basketball this year.
Yep.
Okay. If
that'd be 3 games if they were both, by the way.
Well, I'm not planning on
basketball.
Yeah, but I'm not planning on us having any games ever. So
yeah. I get you. I don't expect to leave my house till 2021.
Right. So, like, for example, if we have a football game in the fall, what goes sports team? If Michigan State play football, if they play football, we have a wager. And if they don't play, then it moves on to basketball. If they don't play, it moves on to football next season. Whatever.
Sure.
If Sparty wins, you got to DM a one shot for me and
Okay.
a group of people. If Michigan wins, I'll DM a one shot for you and a group of people.
Dude, that's so on.
Right? Okay.
100%.
I thought that would be a go.
I love it.
I think that'd be a fun little.
Now,
fun
here's
little
the thing, though. Let's take it a step further. So, if Michigan wins and you're running a one shot for me, the big bad has to be Sparty.
The big bad has to be Sparty. Okay, Sparty as Strahd.
Yes.
Well, I'll figure out something. Yeah, that's fine.
He doesn't have to be the big baddie, but he has to be a bad guy to beat.
He has to be a bad guy because you just have to be able to. Just this gladiator, this Roman gladiator shows up and he's wearing all green armor. Just a little.
Yes. He's wearing his team color branding on his face.
Sure. No, that's fine. That's fine. Then conversely,
a Wolverine somehow in the other way.
No. It'd be Jim Harbaugh.
Okay, that's even better. Because who's got it better than us? Nobody.
Oh.
Everyone, now that all the viewers are like, sports ball, what is this?
What's happening? No
It's
thanks.
funny.
Switch channels.
No, that would be awesome. I would love that. So
Yeah.
that would be like November probably, I think.
Yeah.
If it was football.
Like I think normally State and Michigan plays like end of October, November. Yeah, usually.
Yep.
We'll see. I don't even mean who knows what's even going to happen with everything going on if there's going to be any games. I know they're trying to restart baseball the end of July.
Yep. NFL's reporting in 2 weeks, I think. Yeah. Baseball. So, like right now, I don't know if you've driven around at all, but like in our neighborhoods, like they're playing baseball and lacrosse and just craziness is going on out there. I'm like, wow, like these people are awfully brave. I drove into Kentwood the other day to pick something up at Lowe's, and like we drove by some lacrosse over there. It was like, wow, this is crazy.
Like, here's my feeling on everything that's going on. Like we have gone and we have spent some time with some family members. You know, we've gone like, and we know that they've been quarantined just like we have been. So we were fairly certain that there's no risk.
Yeah.
You know, so we'd go over and we saw some family and stuff like that. And that's really the extent of what we've really kind of done. Mm-hmm. We're still trying to be safe. We're still trying to limit the exposure and stuff like that. And I mean, to be honest, like there's a lot of people talking about herd immunity and whether do you wear a mask, do you not wear a mask? I mean, we have science for a reason, folks.
Right.
It's
if it's unknown. Bad to wear it, why are doctors wearing it? Like
I mean, there are people there, you know, doctors are wearing masks for 12, 16 hours at a time.
Right.
You can wear it to the grocery store. That's just my personal belief. I mean, if you think otherwise, that's fine. It's your opinion. Right. I respect your opinion. I respect your ability to have your own opinion. I feel safer. I feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
Doing that.
My thing is, if you're not wearing a mask, don't stand right behind me at the gas station.
Yeah.
Like, please give me like 8 feet at least. Like, just that. Like, I don't care. Like, if you don't wear a mask, like, but stay away from me. So, like, none of the kids in our neighborhood, they're all out playing with each other. We're the only ones that are keeping our kids like, nope, stay in our yard. Don't go play with anybody. It's so hard for the kids.
Oh,
so
sure.
Hard.
Yeah, it's like most of them don't understand exactly what's going on and stuff like that. So it's a difficult thing to have to try and work through.
Yeah. And I'm high risk. I technically have like early signs of diabetes. So like I don't have any symptoms other than the blood count aspect was elevated last time I checked. But yeah, like we don't do grocery shopping. We do the pickup and stuff. All of our in-person games are now online. You know, that's just how we are. We've seen the grandparents and we've kept distance when we did the grandparents thing twice, which is again hard because the kids go near them and stuff. So we've kind of been like, maybe we shouldn't do that as much. But other than that, we haven't gone around anybody. So, and it's harder on my wife. Like I'm like, I'm all right with this because I'm sort of getting a lot of my interaction from like these interviews and stuff like that.
The social handicap is hard. It's like we've all really been shut down on the amount of time that we can actually spend interacting with our friends and with our families, and that's the real hard part about a lot of this.
Yes.
That just weighs on you. The fact that we have Zoom, the fact that we have online capability to interact with people and talk to people is a godsend. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Without this, I mean, you think back in, was it 1913, 1918, something like that, when the Spanish flu came through, they didn't have this. They sat in their home for. So.
Yeah, when you look back at the stuff, there was the same like people that didn't want to wear masks back then though too. It's the same stuff. I saw like news articles recently from 80, 90 years ago or whatever it was. And it was the same debates and everything then. So so we've been through it before.
Yeah. In short, just take care of yourself. Be healthy. Be safe.
Yes. Do what you got to do for your family.
Yeah, take care of your families. Exactly. Be safe. I mean, I've got 3 little kids. I want them to be safe and healthy. I want them to come out of 2020 and see 21.
Yeah. How old are your kids?
I've got a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 7-year-old.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a soon-to-be 2-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
So maybe after, the vaccines come out and all that good stuff, maybe we can get our kids together someday.
There you go. Yeah, vaccine. After the second round of vaccines was to get all the kinks out.
Right. I'm not expecting to get a vaccine until like summer or fall next year.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like you think about it. This is literally how a lot of like apocalypse movies start.
Right. I love that. I've seen so many memes about it. It's like, oh, well, how come they didn't listen to the scientist in the movie? That's so dumb. And it's like, oh, now I get it. Like, how did Jurassic Park happen 7 times? Like,
yeah. It's you think it was like, this is how we get Planet of the Apes, isn't it? This is absolutely how we get Planet of the Apes. Okay. This is how we got The Last of Us. Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah.
I've played enough video games and I've seen enough movies. I know what happens.
Right. I actually just shared a thing today that was like, us D&D fans know that 2% is not that is not hard to get on D20.
No, it's not. Although if you're trying to do divine intervention,
right,
it's never there. That is never there.
Awesome. So with that, is there anything you want to plug real quick? The links, by the way, are in the pinned comment and the description.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to go check out where he's at.
Great. Yeah. If you want to follow me on Twitter, Randall at Randall_Hampton. If you want
Randall with 2 L's.
Randall with 2 L's. Randall with 2 L's. You can if you want to purchase the Little Game Master, or if you want to pre-order the second book, you can go to my website, randallhamptonart.com. The first book is available on Amazon as well. And then follow me on Twitch. Twitch.tv, Randall_Hampton, and go and hang out with us over at Geeks Like Us. This entire week, we are doing a fundraiser during our streams where we will be raising money for Black Lives Matter. Nice. So during all of our live streams this week, we have tonight, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, like every day, there is a stream happening at some point on Geeks Like Us, and during every stream, they will be raising money for Black Lives Matter. And then
I'm wearing
Sunday,
my Black Lives Matter shirt right now.
There you go. Sunday, come and hang out with the Wormwood community. I'll be drawing with Wormwood folks. Twitch.tv/Wormwood Gaming. And we'll be
not Wormwood like they talked about on their channel.
Not Wormwood. Wormwood. WYRM. It's a great community, great group of people. They're unbelievable to work with. They're fantastic. So a lot of fun. You can hang out with them any night too. Paulie streams every day. So. But yeah, I'm all over the internet right now. So
that's true. He is out there.
I'm trying.
His art has permeated like every RPG bigwig out there's social media profiles.
I'm trying. I'm trying to get in touch with a few of them, see what they say.
There you go.
Having fun.
So with that, guys, we will see you guys hopefully tonight. We have a patron chat at about 8:00 with just a few of the patrons. If you want in on that, you can go check out the Patreon. It's $10. You can bi-weekly chat with us. You get some other cool things. You can hop on the patron private Discord channel, and you see some behind-the-scenes stuff here and there. I was sharing with them last night what I'm working on as far as like intros to videos and stuff. So yeah. with that, this is
Can I
Master
say
of
one
the
thing
Game.
real quick?
Oh,
I
yeah,
want to say
go
one
for it.
thing. One thing more real quick. I'm just reading the chat. Paul Ross, hey, frontliner, thank you. Thank you for everything that you're doing. All you people out there that are on the front lines, taking care of people during this nonsense. Thank you so much.
Yes, I back that as well. Paul's awesome. He's on my Discord all the time, and he's given us some insight into some stuff going on every now and then too. So,
Okay.
thanks
I'm sorry.
again, Paul.
I stepped on your closer. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. Paul is awesome. He's been there since day one. He's a local guy too. He lives on the other side of the state. He actually ran some Fantasy Flight Star Wars for me a few months back. So
nice.
yeah, Paul's good people.
Good peoples.
Yeah. So with that, this was Master of the Game. I'm Juice. This was Randall Hampton. Game on.